Okay, I want you to listen closely because what I'm about to say might just challenge the very foundation of who you think you are. The truth? Your memories? They might not be real at all.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if your entire life story, the thing that makes you you, is just a work of fiction?
You know, your childhood, that first time you scraped your knee, right? The taste of that specific birthday cake, the face of your best friend from back then. What if your mind just made it all up? Or think about your favorite moments, that one perfect sunset you'll never forget, the sound of someone you love laughing. Could all of that just be an illusion? What if that movie playing in your head, the one you call your life, is packed with scenes that, well, that never even happened? Yeah, it's a pretty terrifying thought, but honestly, it might be way closer to the truth than you're comfortable with. So you're probably wondering, how is that even possible? Well, it all kicks off with a huge misunderstanding we all have about how our memory really works. Most of us, right, we think of our memory as this perfect video camera. You press record, it captures everything exactly as it happened, and then you just play it back. But here's the thing, science tells us that's completely wrong. Memory isn't a recording. Nope, it's a reconstruction. It's not some fixed copy of the past. It's more like a creative, dynamic process of rebuilding that happens every single time you remember something. So here's the key takeaway. Every time you pull up a memory, you're not just watching a movie. Your brain is actually rebuilding it right then and there from all these little scattered bits of information. And just like rebuilding anything, you can mess up. You can get the details wrong, little errors, tiny distortions, they just start to creep in. And the result of this? It's huge. It means your most precious memories aren't set in stone. Not at all. They're fluid. They're constantly shifting. A tiny detail changes here, an emotion gets turned up a notch there, and before you know it, the story in your head has drifted pretty far from what actually went down. Okay, so if our brain is this reconstruction engine, what's it capable of building? This is where the story takes a turn and gets, frankly, even more shocking. I mean, look, it's one thing for memories to get a little fuzzy or change over time. We can all kind of wrap our heads around that. But scientists have shown that we can go way beyond that. It's actually possible to create entirely false memories from nothing. And you won't believe how easily it can be done. There was this famous study, right? Researchers managed to convince a bunch of people that they remembered being lost in a shopping mall as a kid, something that absolutely never happened to them. And here's the recipe. First, you start with a simple suggestion, a little bit of misinformation. Then, they just encourage you to imagine it. Just picture yourself lost in the mall. And as you do that, your brain goes to work trying to make it all make sense, weaving those fake details into a real memory. And bam, the final step, a brand new, totally fabricated memory pops into existence, and it feels 100% real. And that's the most chilling part. A false memory doesn't feel fake. It doesn't have a little tag on it that says, "Warning, this isn't real." Nope. It feels just as authentic, just as vivid, just as emotional as any other memory you have. You would literally never know the difference. Okay, so let's pause. If our own minds can just manufacture memories, what on earth does that mean for everyday lives, for our sense of reality itself? I bet you've been here. You're arguing with your brother or your sister or a friend about something that happened years ago. You both remember the exact same event, but your stories are completely different. And you are both absolutely 100% certain that your version is right and they're just wrong, right? And that's the whole problem, isn't it? There's the objective truth, what actually happened, and then there's your perception, what your brain believes happened. And the really scary part is that those two things can be miles and miles apart. Your memory isn't a recording of the truth, it's a recording of your personal subjective perception. So this whole thing leads to a much, much deeper question about who you are. I mean, your entire identity, what you like, what you're afraid of, every decision you make, it's all built on the foundation of your past experiences, right? But what if that foundation is shaky? What if it's unreliable? So how much of you is actually you? If the past that defines you might be part fiction. Think about it. Are you the person who actually lived through all those things? Or are you maybe just a character in a story that your own mind keeps editing? Okay, so if we can't fully trust our own memories, where does that leave us? What even is reality then? Maybe we've been looking at this all wrong. Maybe objective reality is just one piece of the puzzle. Maybe our personal reality, the world that you and I actually experience, isn't defined by what happens, but by what we remember happening. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Next time a really strong, vivid memory pops into your head, just stop, take a second, and ask yourself, is this really how it happened? Or is this just the story I've gotten really good at telling myself? The answer? Well, it just might surprise you. Wow, okay, that was a pretty deep dive into the weird, mysterious world inside our own heads. Which brings us to one last question. And this one's for you. Hey, if this little explainer made you second-guess your own mind even a little bit, do us a favor and help spread that curiosity. Go ahead and like it, subscribe so you don't miss more stuff that'll challenge how you see the world, and definitely share it with a friend who loves a good mind-bending chat. So we really want to know, have you ever been in one of those arguments where you were absolutely positive your memory was right and someone else was just as sure you were wrong? Drop your story in the comments below. I honestly can't wait to read about all the little glitches in our collective memory.